I know the feeling all too well. You scroll through endless listings of high-tech autoclaves, each one promising spotless sterility with a single push of a button, only to discover when you finally get it out of the box that it's either too big for the backroom, too slow for the daily load, or just plain finicky. That gap between the glossy photos and the day-to-day reality is why I'm doing this deep dive, so you can skip the guesswork and walk away with a machine that actually fits your practice. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. The Tuttnauer EZ10P is aimed squarely at small to medium medical or dental offices that need a reliable, hands-free sterilization solution without dedicating an entire suite to a giant sterilizer. What sets it apart from the generic plug-and-play units you see on the market is a truly automatic cycle that takes care of everything from the initial vacuum to the final dry, and it even prints a cycle record right on the device. That printer integration is more than a nice-to-have. It satisfies the documentation requirements that many clinics face during inspections, so you don't have to jot down results on a clipboard after each run. Let's start with the practical setup. The EZ10P sits on a standard countertop, and because the chamber opening is 1,019 inches, it handles typical instrument trays, small pans, and even a few pre-packed pouches without cramming. The door seals tightly and stays locked for the entire cycle, a small detail that actually saves you from accidental opening and recontamination. Installation is straightforward. You hook it up to a standard 3-phase outlet, plug in the water line for the built-in active drying system, and you're ready to run your first cycle. In my conversations with a few clinic managers who have taken this model for a test run, the biggest relief they mentioned was that they didn't have to fiddle with separate drying cabinets or manually open the door to check the load midway through. Now, the heart of any autoclave is the cycle time, and here the EZ10P offers a range of 14 to 30 minutes depending on load size and the drying parameters you select. For a solo practitioner who sterilizes a handful of trays between patients, the 14-minute quick cycle is a real time saver. If you're loading a larger batch of instruments, the 30-minute full cycle gives you the confidence that the steam has penetrated every nook, while the active drying phase keeps the tools from staying damp, an issue that can lead to rust or bacterial growth if left unchecked. The one-touch operation means you set the program, press start, and the machine handles the rest, printing a concise report that includes temperature, pressure, and cycle duration. That printed record can be filed for compliance audits without the extra step of manually transcribing data. Who should buy this? If you run a dental office, a small surgery suite, or a veterinary clinic where the daily instrument load is moderate and you value a documented, hands-free process, the EZ10P hits a sweet spot. It's also a solid choice for research labs that need to sterilize glassware and small equipment on a predictable schedule. The closed-door active drying system ensures that once the cycle ends, the items are ready to be unpacked without waiting for a separate drying period. The fact that the door never opens during the cycle is a plus for anyone who's worried about accidental exposure to live steam. On the flip side, you'll want to walk away if you're operating a high-throughput hospital central sterilization department. The chamber size, while generous for a small office, can't accommodate the large trays and multiple instrument sets that a busy operating room demands. The 30-minute top-end cycle, although respectable, may become a bottleneck when you need to turn over dozens of loads per shift. In those environments, a larger, multi-chamber system with parallel processing would be more appropriate. Also, because the unit includes an integrated printer, you'll need to stock the appropriate thermal paper and keep an eye on the consumables, a minor ongoing cost that larger facilities often absorb, but smaller practices might notice on their budget. A hidden trade-off worth mentioning is the active drying mechanism itself. While it guarantees that your instruments come out dry and ready to use, it does add a few minutes to the overall cycle. Some users who are used to a simple, steam-only process might initially think the drying phase is unnecessary, but the reality is that damp instruments can harbor microorganisms or cause metal fatigue over time. In practice, the extra time is negligible compared to the convenience of not having to manually dry or re-sterilize items that got wet during the cycle. Another practical consideration is the reliability of the one-touch interface. In the field, the control panel has proven to be intuitive. You select the cycle type, adjust the drying time if needed, and the machine validates the door seal before starting. The system also alerts you if the door isn't fully closed, which prevents an incomplete sterilization run. However, because the unit is fully automatic, you lose a bit of the tactile feedback that some technicians enjoy when they